All right, so the first thing you had to do, those of you in class should have already done this, because we're doing it on paper, but for those of you at home, we're working on this page. So if we're writing a 5-paragraph essay, we have 5 wheels. Each wheel has 5 spokes, so think about it this way. Each paragraph has an introduction, a conclusion, and 3 things that we talk about, right? Every one. So when you think about your evidence, think back to the other 5-paragraph essay we wrote. Evidence goes here, right? And here on these, because these are your 3 body paragraphs. And then you have a prompt word to start and a powerful word to end each paragraph. Now this one's a little different because when you write an argument, you are writing only 2 big pieces of information. That's your evidence. Paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Here's where you say, oh yeah, well maybe you think that way, but you're wrong. And maybe you think that way, but this is why you're wrong. And maybe you think this way, but this is why you're wrong. So you're in this paragraphs where we present those people, those ideas of people who think that Jonas should have stayed. And in turn, we also have to provide some kind of a rebuttal, which is you're refuting that information. You're basically saying, I acknowledge what you're saying, but I don't agree with you, okay? So today, we're gonna try and get this planned out and maybe get our papers set up. That might be a big task, but we're gonna try. So when we looked at the essay and we wrote the prompt, what was the one word that this essay is about? Jacob? Decision. So in the middle of that first wheel, and for those of you at home, you need to be listening because my writing has gotten worse since I've been sick. I cannot do anything about it. So this is about decisions. Okay? Whatever word you put in the middle of that first wheel, 99% of the time it's going to be an abstract noun, which means it is a noun, but it is not something that you can touch. It's not something you can pick up. It's more of an emotionally charged word. It's abstract because it's like a thought, like time or love or forgiveness, okay? But these are decisions. In your essay, always, the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to use this word. So when we start writing the essay tomorrow, we are going to use the word decisions. And we're simply going to use it in a general sense tied to literature, okay? The next thing, and kids, you need to be following along and writing this down. The next thing you're going to do is you are going to define the word, this word, okay? So this is where we might say a decision is, okay? What's the matter, Alex? Do you have one? Sure. On the third spoke is where you introduce the novel, the author, and something very brief about it. There's some electric one there, honey. You're going to introduce the novel and the author, and you'll learn this as we go along, but this might be where we say that The Giver is a novel written by Lois Lowry about a young boy named Jonas who is put in a position to keep the memories of the community or something like that. And we'll figure that out when we get there. The next thing you're going to do is now you have to connect this novel to this word. So who's making the decisions, kids? Jonas. So we want to talk about the fact that Jonas, does he make one decision in this novel? Does he make a lot of decisions? Okay, so we want to just mention that Jonas makes a lot of decisions. And then finally, we have our thesis statement. And we decided that Jonas should have gone. He made the right decision, right? So Jonas was right when he chose to leave, and what were our 2 reasons? Elizabeth?
To save Gabriel and for new experiences.
Okay, to save Gabriel and for new experiences. Now what I want you to notice about these wheels, kids, when I'm writing, is that I use as few words as possible and I abbreviate whenever possible. And I do this because when you have to write an essay, like when you're in college and you're given a week to write an essay, or if you're like me and you're given 10 years to write a dissertation, only took me 2 years, but anyways, you have that time to really plan. But when you're sitting at your computer and you have an air test in front of you and they're asking you to write about something, you only have about an hour, 15 minutes to plan your essay and write your essay. So you need to get in the habit of using as few words as possible here as you can. Make sense? You should be able to plan your essay in like 5-10 minutes, and then that whole other hour can be spent writing it. All right? So what was our first reason that Jonas made the right decision? Because of Gabriel. So we're going to put that right here. Keep in mind that whatever order you present your reasons has to be the same order here. So what was the second reason? New experiences. And when you think of new experiences, kids, think about the fact that he was able to see color. He was able to experience family. He learned what love was. He learned what it was like to be an individual. Remember when he had the memory of the birthday party? And he learned at that time, oh my gosh, I'm not the same as everybody else. This person is being recognized all by himself or herself. So those are the experiences that we're talking about. So now the next thing we need to do is find evidence to support this. So who can tell me 3 reasons to support the fact that he needed to get Gabriel out of there? Give me one, Elizabeth.
He was going to be released.
He was going to be released. What's another one? Edison?
He wanted Gabriel to make choices for himself because he said, like, that right now Gabriel can't see, like, the colors of his toy blocks or something like that.
Okay. He wanted him to be able to make choices himself or just to experience the same things, right? And what's another reason why?
What about he wanted him to be able to experience the things? Wait, or is that very said?
Well, we could say, want to save his life.
I had one in my head, but then it just disappeared.
He wanted him to be able to enjoy those things, right, that Jonas was enjoying, and he wanted him to be able to make choices. Or to, like, grow up making those choices. Now I have a question. Do you have page numbers to go with those? You do?
Yeah.
What? Okay, so which one comes first? Saving his life, making choices, or I'm sorry, saving his life, having experiences, or making choices? Which one? Which one? I would think the experiences, right? Because remember when he tried to give him different memories? Did he do that before they escaped or after? Okay, so hold on though. Did he give him those experiences to help save him though?
Yeah.
Or should we, let me back up, should we focus simply on the fact that he's got to save his life?
Simply to save
So maybe we should be looking at this differently. Obviously, he needs to save his life. He's going to be released. Okay, so let's put that. What do we know about release?
They kill him.
Okay,
Oh, it's really dark.
where else do we see release? We know about release. We know that they kill the children. And how do we know that? Where did he learn this?
From watching, I don't remember, but it was, I think it was the twin baby. He saw, the twin baby getting released.
Okay, can we find page numbers to go with each of those kids? Very easily. This, now I agree, I totally agree that Gabriel, that he wanted Gabriel to experience those things and that he wanted to give Gabriel choices, but that's not really pertinent to his decision to take him, right? When he took him because he was going to be released. Jacob,
So, where Jonas finds out what release means?
the what?
Where Jonas finds out what release means?
Yeah, you can. These are gonna be all within the same few pages.
Yeah.
But here, this release, I would focus on when he finds out that Gabriel's going to be released. So find that page. Kyle, which page do you have?
For kill,
What page is it on?
188.
Okay,
It also shows where the twin gets released.
that's on the same page?
Yeah.
All right. So all we need is the page where Jonas goes back to his dwelling and finds out, oh my gosh, they're gonna release him.
206 and 207.
What was it?
206 and 207.
206, 207. Okay. All right. So now we've got our evidence, right? Is this a good order, even though they're not in the order that they happen in the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the first thing we need to know is, oh my gosh, Father said, that's okay, because you're going to be released tomorrow, bye-bye. And that creepy part there, and that's when Jonas realizes, I can't let this happen. Well, then we have to let the reader know what that means, right? Okay, so we need a word to start this paragraph.
Savior.
Well, I don't know about Savior, but he did save him. So now how do we close up that paragraph? Because you want something powerful. Just a word that we can build on later. What does this show? What does this show?
Maybe rescuing or like
Okay, we can do that.
or like
We can.
escape.
We can. Rescue, we'll put escape up here. We'll work with it later. How's that? All right, tell me about the new experiences that Gabriel would have if Gabriel was not in the community. So now listen here. Gabriel is experiencing some of these things during that escape time, but it's only because Jonas is trying to keep him quiet. He's trying to keep him warm, right? Then he tried to keep him cold when the planes flew by so that the heat sensors wouldn't pick up on them being there. But let's talk about the new experiences. What are they? What are some really cool things he wants Gabe to have? Give me one, Liam.
On page 220, the snow comes.
Okay, snow. What else?
Animals.
Animals.
New landscape.
New landscape. We could tie that in, I think, to the snow. I think we could just tie that into nature.
Color.
Color. So which one happened first?
Color.
Color. Then what happened?
Didn't they find the new
Then it was-
landscape first? Because when the road started getting more twisty.
He learned color first,
Oh.
though. Jonas, you gotta go back to Jonas, because Gabriel is just a baby. He doesn't really understand what he's being given. And because he's being given it as a baby, he doesn't know this black and white community existence. Do you know what I mean? What were the other two kids? Sorry. One was Snow and
it was like nature you chose, like nature and landscape.
oh, animals. So which one did Jonas learn next? Snow or animals?
Animals. It was animals. Yeah, it was animals.
Yeah,
It was snow.
Snow from the sledding incident?
What was the
Oh,
first, what was the
it was-
first
it was
memory he
snow.
was given?
It was snow.
It was snow.
And then we could say animals, we could tie nature into this too. So I'll put nature here. Now I need page numbers for these. And I don't want just random page numbers, I want page numbers where they specifically talk about this. So find them, and when you're done, when you find one, raise your hand. What do you got, Nev?
For snow, it's 2:20. It's where it starts snowing when they escape. It says it's called Snow Game. Jonas whispered.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, snow is on 2:20. Even though Jonas learns about it earlier, he's able to tell.
Introducing it to Gabe.
Okay, good. Alex, you got page number for color or animals?
So, for animals, here's where I got, it's 2:15 and 2:16.
What's it say?
There were many birds along the way, soaring overhead, calling. They saw deer and ones beside the road, looking at them, curious and unafraid. A small reddish brown creature with a big tail.
Okay, good. We can talk about that. And you said 2:15 and 2:16?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We could also mention how there was no animals in the community because they had stuffed animals.
And we
Like,
will.
yeah.
We will when we talk about it. But right now, we just are giving ourselves some prompt words and pages to go to so that we have a quote or a paraphrase. Remember, we want to use a variety. Where did Jonas first learn about color?
Next part.
What page is that on? You got it? Kaylin, you guys are way in the back. Think about in the beginning when he first went to see the giver and he was trying to describe to him the apple and Fiona's hair. You got a page?
118, 119, 120.
Uh-huh. And what is happening there?
They're talking about, like here he says, there were a lot of colors and one of them was called red. That's the one you're starting to see.
What page is that?
119.
Okay. Okay. So, I know this is a little sloppy, but I'm gonna make sense out of it for you in a minute. Now, we need to transfer from this, or transition from this paragraph to this paragraph. So what's a good word to start another paragraph? Well, next would be okay. I would say like another reason. We don't want to say later in the book because they're not. These reasons kind of come all over the place,
or
right?
continuing or following through or something like that.
And what do all of these things bring Jonas? Joy?
Happiness.
There we go. So, I'm going to recap this for you guys, and more importantly for the kids at home because they probably can't read what I've written. We have our introductory paragraph, starting with our abstract noun in the middle, which is decisions. We're going to use the word, we're going to define the word, we're going to introduce the novel and the author. We're going to make the comment that Jonas did have to make decisions, and then our thesis is that Jonas made the right decision because of Gabriel and experiences. And you know what I just thought too? This isn't about Gabriel's experiences, this is about Jonas wanting to keep these, right? Can we still use these same quotes? Absolutely. We should make sure, don't let me lead you in the wrong direction. This is about Jonas keeping these experiences. Our second wheel, which is our first body paragraph, is about Gabriel. saved. On page 206 and 207, we find out that Gabriel's gonna be released. On page 188 is where we learn what happens during release. So we have kill. Also on 188 is the example of the twins, and we can follow that up with the fact that that's where Jonah's learned it. And we're going to leave with a powerful phrase about escape or rescue. Then in our third wheel, which is our second body paragraph, we have new experiences. These are all those things that Jonas was experiencing that he wanted to take with him. He didn't want to lose. He didn't like that the community members didn't have them. So we put another as a transition word into that paragraph. 119 tells us about color. 220 tells us about snow. And 215 to 216 talks about animals and nature. And then we're leaving this off with a word about joy because all of these things brought something important to Jonas. Are we good? All right. Now, before we stop, what were the 3 reasons we picked that Jonas should have stayed? Alex.
Chaos if you left.
Chaos if he left.
Weather.
Weather.
And food and water.
And food. So I'm gonna put them in order. We've got food. We have weather. And then we have chaos. So. Today we have a few minutes, we're gonna get our paper set up. And for homework tonight, find these page numbers. If you've already done it, you're already good. Find where they talk about food. Anywhere. Does it have to be during their escape?
No.
No. Find where they talk about, maybe that part where the giver is telling Jonas, you don't really know what it feels like to be hungry. Find out when he learns about weather or that sameness. That could be also when he learns about what? Snow. So you could look there for weather. And then chaos is going to be found somewhere in the conversation between the giver and Jonas.
Yeah.
When the giver explains to Jonas that if he leaves, all these memories are gonna come back to the community, okay? So that's your homework, to find those pages so we can work on that tomorrow. What we're gonna do today is get our papers set up and possibly write that first paragraph. What do you say? Sound like a plan?
Yes.
All right, let me turn this off.